watching The Buck Stops Here. The other big story that concerns the salaried class, especially provident funds, and how much will the EPF tax eventually be? It's been a day full of confusion. Initially, the Revenue Secretary said that if you withdraw money from your provident fund, well, 40% of it is untaxed. That part has remained consistent. But on the other 60%, will you pay tax on the full 60% or only on the interest? There were conflicting statements from the government all day. Finally, a press statement from the Finance Ministry actually made the argument that this only impacts the highly paid class of people, and in fact, of 3 crore 70 lakh people impacted by the Provident Fund scheme, only 60 to 70 lakh would be hit by paying tax on 60% of the return. How has the BJP got its messaging so mixed up? And finally, what is the tax going to be on? NDTV has been told it will be only on the interest, but we've seen a day full of contradictions. Let's introduce our panel. From the BJP, we're joined by Arvind Gupta. We're also joined by Sunil Alag, who's of course an independent strategy consultant. Abhishek Singhvi of the Congress is still with us, and Ritubrata Banerjee of the CPM is also with us. Arvind, can you tell us what's going on? Because the press statement in front of me actually speaks about the total corpus and not tax on the interest. But subsequently, I've been speaking to a number of people in the Finance Ministry, and it's been clarified to me that the tax will only be on the interest.
See, this is there is clarity in the press note that you are mentioning. EPFO has 3.7 crore people as members today.
Yeah.
The data suggests that less than 20%, which is about 60 to 70 lakh people, are the ones which are, you know, getting a basic salary. Now, that's not your whole salary, your basic salary of 15,000 and above, and those are members.
Yeah.
Now, the budgetary provisions which were there have been announced since yesterday impact, first of all, the people who are above this 15,000 category, and impact in a very, very positive manner to, you know, instill a sense of investing for the long term, saving for the long term, building your social security. And there's a provision, even if you take it out, 40% is tax free, because that's generally coming from your employee contribution.
Understood.
The 60% that comes from the employer contribution and accrued interest over the years, and in that there is still a representation whether the 20% which is interest accrued will be taxed, or the 60% that will be taxed. So that is still a question mark, but that also can be avoided by investing in an annuity of your choice.
But most Indians who break a PF do it because they need the money. They don't do it to reinvest, right? And what people are saying is, if you contrast this with the tax amnesty that's been announced in the budget, right?
Let me clarify that.
On the one, what to salaried people, what it looks like is, we don't have big money. We, you know, toil and soil. This is the hard-earned money.
So let me give that message very clear. Anybody which is on the 15,000 and below doesn't get impacted. In fact, gets
15,000 as basic salary.
Basic salary, that means their net salary would be about 40,000. 40% is the basic salary. They don't get impacted at all. They in fact get positively impacted. How positively impacted is because now they can withdraw the whole 100%. Earlier they were by the EPF, not by through the budget. Through the EPF provisions, they could not withdraw all the 100%. There were limitations of 5 years, 58 years. There are a lot of limitations. This budget actually frees up for them to be able to withdraw that whole money and not get taxed.
Okay, let me bring in Abhishek at this point. Abhishek, it now looks like the tax is only going to be on the interest. Is that not reasonable, especially when you look at the Finance Ministry figures, that this is 3 crore subscribers are actually exempt from this, which, you know, of 3.7 crores, 3 crores are not going to be hit. And in fact, according to the Finance Ministry's numbers, only the highly paid are going to be hit.
Barkha, this is a budget proposal which is mysterious, to put it mildly. It's astonishing, to put it correctly. And I don't know who has got this bright idea. I suspect some bureaucrats have pulled it off, and the minister, without going much into it, has done this. Number two, it is one of the most regressive anti-middle class measures. The very fact that you and I, as we speak one day after the budget, do not know whether it will apply even to withdrawals or amounts which are already there prior to April 1? Will it apply to interest or principal?
Very clear.
No, it's very clear.
It is only applicable
from 1st April, you can withdraw 100%. There's complete clarity on that.
And plus all amounts.
All
amounts till 31st March.
We are hoping let's progress from there. Let's progress from there. It's very clear. that up to
We
31st
are all-
March you can
let's not-
withdraw 100%.
And that is my point, Barkha. If I can
We are
make this
all
point,
hoping that
this
clarity
whole
will come.
No,
miscommunication
it's
is
very
media-
clear.
We are all-
This
Can I
whole
finish?
miscommunication is media generated and opposition generated. There is no
Abhishek,
confusion in
one
this.
second, and I will
No,
tell you, yesterday I was on television all
Let
day.
me complete.
Let's
Let me
discuss
complete,
facts, because if you
please.
don't
Let
put
me
facts, there's no
complete.
discussion.
I haven't completed yet.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you are
okay, make your
saying,
point,
all right,
make your
fine,
point.
go ahead.
This clarity must come in the budget speech, not by a finance
It is in
act.
the budget
which is
speech.
yet
Budget
to
speech,
come.
1st April
It will come
2016.
in the finance
That's
act is
in-
what we
yeah,
are all
it's
hoping.
in the speech.
Number three, this is the hard-earned compulsory contribution.
Yes, so let's
There's no
discuss
point
post.
saying that it will affect that amount which the employer is given.
Yeah.
The whole object of a PPF is to have your own contribution and a matching contribution by the employer.
Yes.
It is not as if over the years you've given the option
But
to pull
they're
out to
arguing
these
that
people.
this is only, it's
Now,
actually
this
not
being
the
so,
middle class,
it
but the
hits-
upper middle class. That's
Well, I
the
don't think for a
argument.
start, 70 lakh people is a small number, even if you go by the government figures.
Yeah.
Secondly, there is no middle class or upper middle class. A vast majority of EPF applicants or people to whom it applies are not high class. They are definitely slightly upper middle class or middle class. This whole thing is a middle class band. We are not talking of the upper classes who hardly look at PPF.
Yeah,
So
fair
this
enough.
is something, and what is the government going to get out of this?
That's fair.
When they made
That's a
the
fair point.
NPS, they should have synced it.
I've got
the
a point
NPS
to
is a later scheme.
Khatam karne do.
Okay,
You
so
could
then
not
go
have
ahead.
then now gone
okay,
and touched
Abhishek,
the PPF because you made a new scheme later on.
may I just come in at this stage? See, this is the problem. This is the problem with the opposition. I think this is a fantastic budget which everybody likes. So when you want to nitpick, you will pick the smallest item and make the biggest issue.
Why
Let
do
us
you think-
assume
why
one
do you
second.
think this is the
Let me
smallest
finish.
item?
Let me
Why do
finish.
you think this
Let
is
me
the
No,
finish
this
one
is the
second.
smallest item because Barkha chose to do
one
this
second.
program only
Abhishek,
on
I
this
didn't
subject,
interrupt
not
you.
on the
Can I
whole
just
budget.
finish making
So
my
we're not
point?
discussing the budget, we're
Okay,
discussing only
Abhishek,
this.
let's finish my point and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Now, I am
Yeah.
turning around and saying, first, let's clarify, up to 1st April 16,
Fine.
you can withdraw 100%.
Fine. I'm actually saying it's only on interest, but that's not
Yeah,
in the press
all
release,
right.
unfortunately.
I have been given to understand it's only on
hope so.
interest.
Yes.
One second. If it is not only on interest, I think it's a bad move.
Yeah.
But you are forgetting the entire budget when I say that, look, all that I heard throughout yesterday on the opposition was not that there were any problems with the budget. The question was, will they be able to achieve it by the majority? I'm not talking about that. For once, the opposition had nothing to say other than what I said in the morning. They will say it's
But on this
directionless.
specific
No, one
proposal,
second.
on this specific
They stand
proposal.
on this issue. I'm turning around and saying, if it is not the interest alone, if it is something else, they'll withdraw
Has
it. They
there
should
been
withdraw it.
miscommunication, Sunil?
I
Because
think-
the budget speech spoke about corpus,
Yeah.
the press release speaks about corpus.
I
It's
agree.
only us who know from talking to
Agreed,
the concerned
agreed.
people that it's actually on
Okay,
interest.
agreed.
And
One
the
is-
revenue secretary also
No,
said
one
it's
second,
on
one
interest.
second.
Yeah.
This morning, the revenue secretary has clarified it,
Has
but
spoken.
it needs to
Yes.
be. No, one second. It should be clarified. But it's very clear that he in the budget speech said 1st April 2016. He didn't say for the past.
Okay, Ritubrata Banerjee from the CPM, considering the government is arguing that this only impacts highly paid employees of private sector companies, can we really make this into an Aam Aadmi issue?
Now, I first of all fail to understand how this can be a smallest issue.
Yes.
This is not at all a small issue.
Yes.
Hard earned money of the people, you are targeting that. And now if you look into from the budget speech, then up to the MOS finance, and then the revenue secretary, we have 3 versions on this policy matter.
Yeah.
The government is completely clueless. This attempt to clarify that is going on, that shows that how government is clueless
actually on the
such a
contrary.
serious matter.
I think
Now,
it's on the
interesting
contrary.
thing is that tax collected. No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
The government has targeted the people. You have no right actually. This is a hard-earned money of the common man. How can it be taxed?
Ritu
This is
Purno, I will
people are
say,
being
if
targeted
you look
and
at
most
all your
interestingly,
earlier
the
speeches
figure
for
shows-
every budget,
No, let
you
me
talked
finish,
about
let
the
me
rural
finish.
area and you talked about
Let
the
me-
poor
Arun,
man,
let me
and
finish.
now when
You
they
have to-
take
you
care
have-
of them,
You
you are
have
suddenly
to let
fighting
me
for the other
finish.
people.
If you don't allow
Let
me
him
to
finish.
finish, it's no meaning. The
please
point
finish.
is,
Please
the,
finish.
in the tax, we can see, because the crony capitalists, they are basically happy with this budget.
Where are we
Very
going?
much
We
happy.
are not
because you
happy
see,
with the budget. Yeah, he's taxing the
13.5
rich.
lakh crore.
Crony
That is the
capitalists
tax
are happy.
collected.
You're making a statement.
Because more reforms are not there.
No,
But
this is standard.
what I want to make, 13.5 lakh crore tax we have collected, the government has collected,
Yeah.
and 6.11 lakh crore of rupees is tax forgone. That shows the mindset of the government. That shows the priority of the government.
Yeah,
that's
so
why
I think
this
I
common
can,
people are being targeted. You cannot do this.
I can, you know, there is so many digressing points
let's
that
first why there has been mixed messaging.
Okay, so
can I first say that?
Sunil, let me respond.
No, there are two different debates here. Arvind. One is, have you communicated clearly? Two is the issue. First on the communication, you know, I have before me 5 different versions. The budget speech, which said the total corpus will be taxable on withdrawal, then the finance bill, then the revenue secretary's version, which was only on interest, then the PIB press release, which said corpus again, and now the sources who are saying only on interest.
So why this is important to understand is, there is a budget speech, which is the only official version, and a PIB, which is, and a press conference, and a PIB release that you have.
Yes.
There is a constant engagement. This is a government that listens to its citizens. And it is because it is listened, and there was uproar today, and
so
many people reacted.
Changed its mind. It is
the government is in the process of.
It is a de facto
but
rollback.
you are not reading the last.
Or it is a de facto partial rollback.
No, but you are not reading the last line of this press release.
Okay.
The last line of the press release, the last para of this press release is very important. That we are getting.
The finance minister will be considering all the suggestions.
All the suggestions and representations. So we are in the process. If something that has not gone down well with any section of the society, we will change it. That is, there is a clear window in there. And I think that it is a job of the government to clarify. I think this is the government that is speaking out and clarifying.
Abhishek Singhvi, are you objecting and calling this regressive?
Is this clarification? One after another clarification coming
after another.
If
you require, Barkha.
Don't say one after another. Raise another.
First of all, let's be
Abhishek, go ahead.
One after another.
Abhishek.
Let's be clear. Don't fudge the issue and start discussing the budget when we are discussing only EPF.
We're not fudging any issue.
Number 2, if you have 5 versions or clarifications,
on one point,
I can only say that it is about the most clouded, unclear thing which is happening if you have 5 versions.
Okay, let's assume the final version is the last one. Abhishek, let's assume
it's only interest.
Abhishek, let's assume it's only interest.
Now what?
Let's assume it's
let's
only
not carry on this point.
Let's assume all the clarifications in favor of the government.
No.
It is still a horribly anti-middle class move.
Clarifications are always in the favor of the citizens.
Its tax elasticity is probably minor compared to the hit it creates. It is mystifying. Nobody knows as to why such a move is taken. Merely because you made the NTS later, you should have synced it with this. Most important point everybody is missing. You are having a compulsory contribution, compelling everybody over the years, decades and decades.
Yes.
And you suddenly pull this on them, that when you start withdrawing, and there's no point saying 60% of the employer's contribution.
The government is arguing. Abhishek, the government is arguing that 3 crore. May I make a point? The government's figures say
and 70 lakhs is a large number.
But let me
but are you accepting that only 70 lakh are hit? Abhishek, are you accepting that figure?
I'm not. Not at all. Not at all.
I'm
saying that the entire 3 crore is middle class.
Let me
part of the middle class band goes slightly higher, slightly lower.
Year after year, when you mention year after year,
is
this
not
is
a
on
upper
the past.
class concept.
The past is not impacted at all. Let me, as of right now, and I'm sure there will be, more representations, and some things may change. But as of right now, nothing from the past is impacted. Let's be very clear. So when you say hard-earned money of the past,
it's not retrospective. We know that.
Yeah. So but
now let's talk on the issue. On the issue,
Mr. Manu Singhvi is bringing about the past. So I'm trying to clarify nothing of the past. See, that's not clear. Create a fear, uncertainty, and doubt amongst people. Let's be very clear on this.
Now move on. Now move on.
1st April onwards, what happens? There are 2 scenarios.
Yes.
People with 15,000 basic or above
are exempt.
And exempt, and that is majority. 85% of the people are exempt in this.
Right.
So
government employees are exempt.
Everybody is exempt in this. Now comes a category which is private sector, ultra high paid category. In that, there is a provision that you could not, till earlier, you could not even withdraw the money.
Yeah.
Because the employee contribution 40% technically of the 100%, you can withdraw still, it's tax free. The employer contribution, if you need to withdraw it, if the reason comes, even though the government's position is let's save for the long term so that you have pension and you have savings when you retire. That's the overall social security the government wants to instill in people. That's a savings culture the government wants to instill in people. But even if you need it, even if you need that, whether it's the interest or whatever, you actually can
I
avail
ask
that
both
capital.
of your questions?
You can
I ask
first of
both
all
of your
avail that
questions?
capital. Earlier you could
Do you
not.
both believe, as I believe that it is, we will see an official announcement that this is going to be only on interest. Now, if it is only on interest, do you believe that
then it is actually.
and if it's not on interest?
Then they should change it.
Okay, now
I'm with you on that. They should change it.
Now let me
But
take.
Barka, you are missing the higher point.
Which
the whole point is to instill a culture of savings
Yeah,
for
but
the
if
long
it
run.
affects everybody, then it's
No,
a very
it is good.
cosmetic. How much is the
yeah,
amount of money?
Yeah,
Let's
so
change
that
it.
is probably true.
So
that is
Ritu
probably
Bhatta-
true.
Ritu
That is probably
Bhatta-
true.
Ritu
Then
Ritu
positive.
Banerjee, the finance ministry says that this scheme is to avoid conspicuous consumption. In fact, it's to make people not just spend their money. For
Long-term
example, if I pull out my Provident Fund and I decide to go on a world tour, then that's not the best use for my Provident Fund without
And
paying
that's the
tax.
point I've been
Now,
raising.
their argument is this is only impacting highly paid employees of private sector companies, not the ordinary Indian, because the ordinary Indian with 15,000 rupees basic salary per month is exempt.
Also, I want to add, if you take that 60% and put it into a pension
annuity.
fund,
Nobody
into an annuity,
takes out
one
their
second.
provident fund money to
No,
go
no,
on
one
world
second.
tour.
If you put it
These
into
are
an annuity, there's no
excuses given
tax.
by the
There is no
government.
tax.
I have a simple question.
Yeah,
The
okay.
government is so keen on burdening the salaried people. Why the government is
defending
not
the
at all
earlier it
keen
was
for
rural
collecting
people, now
the
it's salaried
tax
this
from
year.
evaders and defaulters?
Very happy.
Tax
I'm salaried.
foregone
I
is
really am very
6.11
happy that
lakh
CPM
crore.
is
but
defending the
The
salaried
government
people
is
now.
so very keen.
No, it
on
is- that is a
implementing
separate
the
debate at the
all
government
rural.
level.
Look,
collecting
Ritu
the money
Parno,
from
last
the
year it
tax
was all
evaders and
rural.
defaulters.
The
Sunil,
villagers
that's
are
the
not taken
mindset
into
of the
account.
government.
This year you pick this.
But wait, he has a
Full
valid point.
nitpicking.
He has one
This is
valid point.
nitpicking.
He has one valid point. When you contrast the tax amnesty,
Yeah.
wait, there's a tax amnesty in this budget.
Yeah, but
There's a-
45% tax, huh?
45%
You have to pay
tax.
percent. It's a huge amount.
1 minute.
Almost
Tax-
50%.
Tax amnesty. You're seeing some of the biggest corporates in India willfully defaulting.
No, they should
Then
be
they're-
caught.
Then
No,
they're
no.
having ostentatious
I am with
By
you
law,
on that.
they should not
I'm
be
with
caught.
you.
No,
Nobody is
nobody's
saying
saying that.
I'm not defending
I'm
that.
asking, is there a...
You must
Let me
catch
ask my
everyone.
question.
Yeah.
Let me ask my question. Politics is about perception.
Yeah.
Is there a perception problem here that the salaried are being targeted,
Always.
whereas the rich are defaulting
No,
and
one
getting
second.
away?
I have
That-
always
that's-
said,
that's
I've
what my
always
question
said
is.
that
Yeah.
I am amongst the 40 or 50,000 people who pay the tax.
Yeah.
And
Why
50
should honest taxpayers be
Correct. So
penalized?
I have always been against it.
Yeah.
Okay, 50,000 people out of 1.25
Yeah.
crore, 125 crores is nothing.
Yeah.
You must widen the tax. Now, when you widen it, Ritu Parno will be the first one to say, why should I pay tax? Now you are, then last year it was don't go against rural.
Yeah.
You will always find some fault.
See,
No budget can be perfect. No
put
budget
this
can
blame
be
on us
perfect. One
people.
second, Ritu
You
Parno,
are-
I'm going to
whatever
finish.
you may like, you
No
may say,
budget
but the
can be
point is
perfect.
this government.
No
You
budget
have
can be
these indirect
perfect.
taxes have
Ritu
gone up,
Parno,
direct taxes
I
have
am
come
just
down.
saying
So
no budget
everybody
can be
understands
perfect.
the mindset
I
of
am
the
saying
government.
no budget
I am
can be
clearly
perfect. Are you
categorically
hearing
asking
me?
for an answer
Okay,
from
okay,
you.
come on.
I just
Carrying
want
on
to
here.
know
Okay,
from
now
you,
last-
why
budget
is
is
this
perfect.
Last
salary
lucid
being
comments from
targeted?
all of you.
Why you are not collecting the
Ritu-
taxes from
okay,
the
carry
tax
on.
Okay,
evaders
Ritu
and
Brata,
defaulters?
what is
What's
your
the
last
problem?
point? I
Why
asked
the
you.
tax foregone
Let me
is
ask a question.
6.11 lakh crore?
Mr. Banerjee, let me ask a question. Your last comment, if it turns out that the tax is only on the interest, will the CPM still oppose it?
Yes, we will oppose it. The government has no moral right to burden the hard-earned money of the people.
Okay. Arvind, is there a problem here both in the messaging and the perception? Because this is a technical matter to explain to people, right?
I think it's a very technical matter. I personally feel the government, the finance ministry is going to come out with an exhaustive clarification, which will clarify this in a very simple layman's language, which everybody can understand. And I would request that to happen.
Clarification will come out.
No, it may be whatever.
It'll be
Final
1,000
clarification
clarifications. Is there a
important.
problem?
This is
If it is foil, it meets
if
your...
there is no
Then
communication,
let me
you have a
have
problem.
clarification. What's your problem?
I don't understand.
What's your problem?
Yeah,
I don't understand
that.
Ritu Parno. What is your problem if there are 1,000 clarifications?
See,
Is there a
You
problem?
have a budget speech, then the MOS
So
finance,
let's
then the
not
revenue
argue, let's
secretary,
not nitpick.
one after another,
you
and
are
now we say another
nitpicking
will
this
come
time,
out.
Ritu Parno.
So this
I
is the
personally
shows
believe the very
You are
important thing
nitpicking.
is...
Okay, last comments, last
I
comments.
personally
I-
believe that there is a very small minority of people that get impacted, and if they are getting negatively impacted, being a very responsive government, this government will take amends and actually communicate that to the people.
Sunil, there's a perception which Abhishek started with, that this is a Babu's recommendation that has made its way into the budget without thinking of the political consequences.
Yes. Because
Quick last
I
word,
think
I've got to
it's
close.
possible, and if it is only on interest, I don't think it's a big issue, but if it is on the whole thing, I'm against it. But I just do not worry, you must worry about the main thing. What is going to happen is all the rural areas, demand is going to get generated, industry is going to come in, roads are going to be built, employment is going to be generated. Let's discuss that. and not these small nitpicking things. For the first time, I'm hearing nitpicking happening by the opposition.
Which is a good
because
sign.
the big thing
Which
you
is a
can't
very good
touch.
sign. Which
You
is a very
cannot
good
oppose.
These are not at all small
That's all.
things.
Okay, fair enough.
You
It's very big
pardon
for
the
you.
salaried class.
Very good. Okay,
Their
I
hard-earned
agree.
money, this is not
Anyway,
at all a
I've
small
had my
thing.
say. You've had your last say. Let the people decide, no, whether it's a good budget or not.
We will leave it there. One thing is clear. There's been a
Let
day.
100 flowers bloom.
Correct. Mao Zedong by the gun. Don't forget that.
Okay, that's it.
I mean, you want 100 flowers bloom when Mao Zedong has the gun in his hand.
That is it.
That's
That's
the
Don't
will
talk
of
about
the
CPM.
people.
I've come from Bengal. You all destroyed that
Don't
state for 30
half-quote it,
years.
don't
Did you
half-quote
look
it.
after the poor for 30 years? What have you left Bengal as? Come
Okay,
on.
now I
Come
want-
on, let me
Same
hear
old
that. We'll have
rhetoric.
another
Now you
debate.
people are with
So don't
Trinamool
bring about
Congress.
1,000
Now let him
flowers
speak.
bloom.
Now let him speak.
We are
Just-
hearing this rhetoric.
Okay, then
Your
don't tell me
people,
about
the
Bengal.
ministers are going there and uttering
Don't
the
tell me
same
about
rhetoric.
Bengal.
Okay, that's
Destroyed by the
Rhetoric is-
CPM.
Okay, that's
we
a
are
different, that's a
habituated
different
with
debate,
this
different
rhetoric.
day. That's
We
a
have no
different debate.
problem. Trinamool BJP
Yeah,
rhetoric
I
is
agree.
the same.
Okay,
I
thank
agree.
you very much, Arvind, Abhishek, Ritibrata, and Sunil. We will leave it there, but we will await a clearer response, certainly from the government, because we've seen a day-long confusion. And I don't know about the numbers. The government says 70 lakhs, but I know there are a lot of salaried people out there very worried about what's going to happen to
And
the
I'm with
provident
you.
funds.
And I'm with you on
And you
that.
agree on that. We leave it there. Thanks for joining us, and that's it on the Buck Stop.